Hi everyone. It's that time of the year where it's time to start thinking about Christmas puddings, and if you like a pudding that you soak with brandy over the couple of weeks and give it a chance to mature over a couple of weeks before Christmas, then it's great to get it done a little bit earlier. This one will last, you don't need to do anything to it. You can just put it in your fridge and it'll be ready, but it's steamed in the varoma. So I'm starting with a basis of the Christmas pudding on Cookidoo, and then I'm changing it just a little bit, changing a couple of small things to make it like a pudding that I've made quite a few times. It's a created recipe now, so it's the new one where you can change your recipes. So I've saved the Christmas pudding recipe and altered it. Okay, so I'm going to get started, and the first step is to soak your fruit. Okay, so my fruit has been soaking for a couple of days, so it's well and truly ready to go. So I'm just going to pop that aside, and then we're going to go on with our recipe. So it's asked me to grease a pudding bowl, so you might have a pudding bowl with a lid. If you do, great. And then the other thing that I do there is I put some little, like a little piece of baking paper at the bottom, so that just to make sure that I can get it out of the bowl. So the next step is to add, so I'm doing this one gluten-free, so I'm going to add the gluten-free flour, and I've got some baking powder in there as well, some butter, softened butter, some sugar, and a couple of eggs. So 2 eggs into that, and then it's lid on, and we're going to cream that up for about 30 seconds. Great, okay, so that's done. So that's creamed that beautifully. I'm just going to scrape down the sides and I'll make sure I get all of those ingredients in there. I don't think that does another mix on that. I think it's the next stages, but you can see that's done a really nice job of creaming the butter, sugar and eggs into that. The next step is to add almonds, mixed spice, so the almonds and mixed spice go into there, and then some breadcrumbs. So I don't have any gluten-free breadcrumbs, so I am going to trial adding 50 grams of gluten-free flour. So I might even, I'll just have to see how the mixture looks, if it looks a little bit too dry, and then just add a little bit more liquid to it. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, and then lid on again and another mix to there. Okay. Great, okay, so that has mixed that again, so that is good. There we are, that's what that one looks like. And now I'm adding the reserved soaked fruit and juices. So that all goes in, and it smells delicious. And then that is going 30 seconds, it's on reverse this time, on speed 2. Okay, now if it needs a little more mixing, sometimes it does, just because it's trying to do it fairly gently. You can just do that with the spatula. I'm actually quite happy with the consistency of that mixture. I don't feel as though it's too wet. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into my mixing bowl. My pudding bowl. I'm just trying to get that even in there. I try not to spend too much time scraping out food on the bottom of the bowl. I'm just going to put it back in the base, put the lid on. I'll get rid of that recipe and then just give it the blades a big spin. And then that will spin everything off the blades, so then I can go ahead and scrape that off the edges. Okay, so then it tells me to cover the the surface of the basin with some grease-proof paper. So how I get that shape is I just take a piece of paper, fold it in half, and then just keep folding it over and over until you get, you know, almost an aeroplane. I put it round about in the center. So I put the point in the center of the bowl, and then I choose a point to do a little bit of a curve and cut that off. Then I can open that up, and then that will sit nicely on my pudding. And actually that's a good way to even it out too. You can press it down and even it out. And then what I do from there, I'm going to cover the bowl with grease-proof paper. And then I'm going to use the foil to help hold it down. I have tied that down with some string before, but you'll find that the foil does hold in place quite nicely when you push it into the bowl, and then that's just go round and push it into the sides of the bowl so that it's nice and secure. Okay, so there's our pudding. So all I have to do now is fill the bowl with 2 litres of water, some lemon juice, lid on, bowl in your varoma. And I'll just pop you up a little bit so you can see there. Then the varoma in place with the lid on the varoma. And then we're going to start that for an hour and a half for on varoma on speed 2. So that's going to cook now for an hour and a half, and then I've got to top up the water, and it'll go for another hour and a half. I think in total it goes for about six hours. So then on Christmas Day, all you have to do is do another hour to warm it up. But I will show you once it's finished what it looks like. Okay, so my pudding has been cooking for about 6.5 hours, and then I've had it in the fridge. So now I'm going to turn it out. It still needs to cook for another about an hour. So that's when I'll warm it up on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. So you can either warm up the whole thing or just cut slices and warm it up. So let's get it out of the bowl. So all I do for that is to take the foil off and the paper off, and then I've set that in some warm water for just a minute or so, and then I'm just going to give it a big tap on the bench, and hopefully it will come out, so which it has. So that's nice. So this way it looks beautiful and it smells delicious. You can just smell all that beautiful fruit in there. So now I know I'm good to get it out of the bowl. So I'm going to put that back into the bowl now, and I can also add some more rum to it or brandy to it if I want to, and I'll just straighten that up and just keep storing that. I'll put everything back on and keep storing that in the fridge until Christmas Day, until I'm ready to serve it. So there's our beautiful gluten-free Christmas pudding. So I hope that's inspired you to have a go at making your own Christmas pudding, and I hope that you will get that feel that I get, that self-satisfaction that I've made my own Christmas pudding. I've saved a few dollars because Christmas puddings are pretty expensive. I've managed to convert it into gluten-free. I've also had a go at the created recipes. So I hope that helps. Feel free to shoot through any questions if you're having any challenges, and I'm happy to help. Good luck with your first puddings.